Coming up on The Sporting Chef.
Today on the show, I'm cooking duck. But that's not all. I've got Stacy, Susie, John, Kyle, Anthony, and big old Buddy. Ducks for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you're a Ducks Unlimited member, and if you're not, you should be, I'm the cooking editor there. So if you've been paying attention to the magazine for the last 10 or so odd years, that's me. One of the biggest things that I tell people, besides don't overcook your duck, is don't leave your duck soaking in bloody duck blood. This doesn't taste good. Let me just show you how much blood there is if all you did was take your duck breasts and throw them in a bag. When you freeze it and then when you thaw it, you got a bunch of duck blood. It doesn't improve the flavor. Another option is salt water. Take a gallon of water, a cup each of kosher salt and brown sugar, and submerge your duck breasts in there, which will mellow them out. You don't have all the blood. This is my preferred way. I'm telling you, I don't cook a duck or a goose without first brining it in high mountain brine. You notice there's not a bunch of blood here. Stacy Harris, if you want to know anything about contemporary Southern cuisine, she's the gal. If you go to Game and Garden now, she's got a deal on her cookbooks, an autographed copy of her cookbooks. She is a fixture on the show, and here she is now.
I'm going to be making corn dogs today. It's everybody's favorite fair food, and I thought, why not make it with venison? So I have some venison links, and I just put a stick right into it. I did go ahead and cook my venison. I've got some cornmeal, a little bit of buttermilk, and 2 eggs. This is going to make our batter. I put a little bit of cayenne pepper in my self-rising cornmeal. If you don't have self-rising cornmeal, put a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of baking powder and a little bit of salt into your cornmeal, and it'll do the same thing. Now I'm gonna mix these ingredients together, and it's gonna make a very light and airy cornmeal batter. I have heated my oil in my Weston fryer, which is the best. You can use a Dutch oven if you like. Just get the temperature to 350 degrees. I've got my links on the stick, and I'm just gonna roll it into flour. This is just all-purpose flour. I'm gonna put this batter into a long mason jar. This is gonna really help me to get the batter all over it in a really easy way. Okay, and I'm just gonna put it straight in and put it right down into the oil. Okay, I've got it at 350 degrees, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the others. So when they start floating to the top and they're nice and crispy, pull it on out, and I'm putting it on a cookie rack or a cooling rack over a sheet pan, and it keeps the air circulating around it, and it'll stay nice and crunchy. You can also put these in a 200-degree oven and keep them warm while you're making all of the rest of them. If you want to make these this year, just tell your processor to make you some venison sausage links or just some venison sausage, and you can mold it yourself around the sticks and cook it. Also, High Mountain Seasoning makes a great sausage mix, so you can just make it yourself. It's awesome. I don't have to wait until the Montgomery County Fair comes. I can make these beauties right in my own house.
That's Alabama cuisine, or as my dad, an Alabama farm boy, would call it, he would call it cuisine. But I think he would just do that to make my mom mad. All right, I'm gonna marinate some ducks. Some duck breast. This recipe is on the sportingchef.com website. No reason to write it down. Let me tell you what I've done. I've got some that have already been marinating. So let's say we got a couple of duck breasts here. Lemon or lime juice, garlic, little cumin, vegetable or olive oil. Now you can add salt and pepper, or you can do what I do and use the High Mountain garlic pepper rub. And some cider vinegar. It's going to be sour. Orange juice concentrate I use. If you want a sweetener, rather than using sugar, try an orange juice concentrate. There's just a little water, a little onion. I'll use some onion over there too. And then the spicy part, some jalapeno. And I want it spicy, so I'm going to leave the seeds in and just slice it into rings. Now you could just put it in this zipper lock type bag, but I have a better way. Here's what I did. I put it into a Game Saver bag. And I know you're thinking there's no way you can put that kind of liquid into a Game Saver bag, because any kind of vacuum sealer, I mean, all the liquid's going to run out. But I'll show you what I did. I loaded a Game Saver bag, and this was a dam bag. So if you've ever used the paper towel trick to keep stuff from going in, the dam bag gives me a little extra safety there so that the liquid doesn't go into the chamber. You just have to be ready on the seal button so that you can stop it before the liquid gets in and it starts to seal. And guess what? That's what you have. It's going to give it more penetration when it marinades, because it's not, you don't have to deal with the airspace. Most of the airspace is out there, and you can tell by the color, I hope, that it's very, very mild. So this is going to go onto my Camp Chef grill. And coming up next, we've got Susie Jimenez. Yep, you know Susie, and Kyle Crawford up next on The Sporting Chef. Welcome back to The Sporting Chef Show. Today on the show, I'm cooking duck. And I have a little surprise for the crew for afterwards. That's right, I know. Right, I know, I see your expression, because see, they've been doing their thing while I'm doing my thing. So I got up a little earlier, and I've got some pork ribs in here. Let me just take a second to tell you about my favorite cooking appliance here. This is very cool. This latches here, this grill pops off. It has a carry bag if you'd like to put it in. There's a flat top griddle that'll cover either two of the burners or the whole thing. So if you want to make a big breakfast like we've done here on the Sporting Chef Show, you can do that too. You can fry with it, you can grill with it, and I'm going to grill those marinated duck breasts. But first I want you to check out Susie Jimenez. Today she's at the Hillenbrand Farmhouse Brewery near Newcastle, California. It's right by the creek, and she's doing stuffed jalapenos, and you are going to love them, like I love Susie.
One of the biggest things that I grew up with was stuffed jalapenos. Here's the quick little tip though. If you want them to actually have the heat that they're supposed to have, don't remove the seeds. Leave them in there and suck it up. Have a beer, have a glass of wine, get over it. We're gonna put these in our Camp Chef grill, and they're gonna sit there for about 2 minutes. The reason that I do that is because I want them to get cooked before I actually stuff them, so all the cheese doesn't melt. So while that's cooking for the first 2 minutes, we're gonna do the stuffing. So we're gonna add a little bit of blue cheese to this. Then panela cheese. Panela cheese is soft and creamy. It's got a good texture, and it also helps combine everything. So we're gonna add that to that. Then we're gonna go to Italy a little bit and get a little Parmesan, of course, because we are doing a Mexican dish. You can go queso fresco, all that good stuff. And we're gonna put half of that in the mixture, and we're gonna keep the other half to top it off with. Now, who loves wild boar? I know I do, especially wild boar that's been smoked and the bacon is in there. Boom, who doesn't love that? Then, the secret ingredient, guys, lemon. We're gonna zest this into our mixture, because when you eat it, it's going to have a really nice salty, the wild boar is like smoky. This is gonna be nice and citrusy, right? Now, to season it. Okay, High Mountain Seasonings does everything for you. Why are you gonna even think? I decided to go with the garlic pepper. So we've already combined this really well. Now we're gonna remove these jalapenos. Okay, don't try this at home, guys. You got a professional over here. Use tongs, don't burn yourself. So we're gonna just got a nice little char on them. As you can see, they're nice and blistered, delicious. We're gonna cut them right in half. Oh yes. Okay, yes, you can remove the seeds. Like I said, don't do it. Then we're gonna add a little bit of this stuffing right on top, just like this. Put those in my little skillet. So these are nice and stuffed. Remember how I told you to use the other half? We're gonna sprinkle that right on top. And what is gonna happen is it's gonna give it a nice little crust back in the oven. That's what I call the grill. The grill is the oven. Now make sure you got that little Michael David Chardonnay set aside because you're gonna need that after you're done with this sucker. So we're gonna leave it in there for about 2 minutes. Final touch to this is squeezing a little bit of lemon to it. You hear that? That's the sound of love right there. So now you guys, it's finished, it's ready. Serve it right on the skillet. Get your Chardonnays out, your Sauvignon Blancs, and your beers, and you're gonna have a fantastic time outdoors. Boom, see you later.
Right? What's not to like about Susie or the Hillenbrand Farmhouse Brewery? And by the way, I'm guessing Susie might have had a beer or two when she was there. Marinated, skin side down. I want to make sure that that skin is crispy, because to me there's not a whole lot of things that are funkier than rubbery duck skin. Again, skin side down. I'm going to check my ribs also, and let me show you just how tender these ribs are here. See, that's what a rib should look like. Nice and tender. You know, you don't see me eating food on the show very often because I find it really annoying to watch people eat food. All right, next up, we've got Kyle Crawford with a great tip on how to keep things sharp at home.
Knowing how to sharpen is quickly becoming a lost art. Simplifying it to the angle of the edge and the abrasive you're using can really simplify the process of sharpening. And that's something that all Work Sharp products do, is make sharpening fast and easy and actually teach you how to sharpen through using angle guides. The guided field sharpener will help you learn to establish the edge angle on a knife so you can easily sweep the blade across an abrasive and create a sharp edge. Once you've learned that skill and that muscle memory, you can quickly move that skill to any abrasive you have, such as the bottom of a coffee cup. There's a porcelain section that's unglazed. Establish the angle you just learned on your Work Sharp, and quickly and easily hone your knife on the bottom of a cup. Learn how to sharpen with Work Sharp, and then impress your friends with all your new sharpening skills.
I'm gonna not overcook these duck breasts. Up next, we've got Anthony Pascale, John McGannon, and Buddy T. To the sporting chef, I am cooking ducks. This is duck recipe number 1. I've already quartered them. I want to get nice crispy skin. Another quick recipe here. This is what I do with some cut up duck. I've got some butter in the pan. I'm going to add onions, carrots, celery. Now I want you to check out Anthony Pascale. He's cooking Opa. He is the owner chef at Saiko Sushi in San Diego, California.
All right, so today I'm going to be making an Opa sashimi, new style Opa sashimi, which means my definition is I'm going to use some sauce and some garnish to accompany the fish. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my loin off of here, making sure not to get any of the sinew in the loin. And I'm going to come down along the skin, leaving my sinew on the skin. There. So in traditional sashimi, we're going to plate with odd numbers of fish. 3 pieces, 5 pieces, 7 pieces. That's how I've always seen it, so that's what I do. Today I'm going to go with 5 pieces. To accompany the fish on this dish is some really nice asparagus that we grilled off. And I'm just going to cut this in small bite-sized segments. I'm going to cut it on a little bit of a bias like this because it looks really cool. So this is my sauce that I'm going to use on this sashimi. This is a habanero and carrot puree. This is a great sauce. It's got fantastic color. It's got a really nice flavor from the habaneros, and it's spicy. So to mellow this sauce out, I put some mangoes in with the sauce. So I'm just going to take my sauce, I'm going to spoon it onto my plate here, and I'm just going to give it a nice swoosh with my spoon. Next, I'm going to take my sashimi cuts, just lay them down right here on the sauce. Sashimi is all about presentation. So I just want my cuts to be nice and even. I want a nice array, make it look like a fan. easy to eat, nice to look at. I'm gonna take my asparagus segments and just kind of lay them down here. These are really nice cherry tomatoes. And I'll just kind of dress my plate up, lay these things around. And this is grasshopper salt. This comes from Mexico, and it is just really nice sea salt with dried grasshopper, lime, and chili. Okay, it's got a nice color and a nice citrusy and smoky flavor. And I'm just gonna really lightly put some on my plate here. This is some nice watermelon radish, and these are some dandelion blossoms that I can use to finish and just make it look very, very nice. And there you have it. This is new style Oppa sashimi with a habanero and carrot puree, grilled asparagus, cherry tomatoes, and grasshopper salt.
The duck's been basted. The duck's off the grill because I didn't want to overcook it. I added some acorn squash. There's a little garlic. You don't want to add that early or it'll burn it. Now I've got some chopped up duck. And I've left the fat on some of the breasts. Some of them don't have fat on them. This is going to be a duck, rice, squash, celery, carrot, onion side dish. I'm going to keep working on this here. Now check out John McGannon, who has a grinder tip you can use at home.
All right, so for all of you out there that have thought about grinding your own meat, which I highly recommend, there's a couple of tips that you should take into consideration. One is freeze all the metal moving parts, which will help to cut your meat as opposed to just smashing it through the bit. This Weston right here is a really good entry level for all of you who have those little meat grinders that are at home. Just send us a picture of those knuckles and we'll work how to deal with Weston. So anyway, cold meat. All right, this is some chili ground that I've already ground once. I'm gonna grind it again, and we're gonna turn that into some elk pierogies. Sitting on an ice bath. Also, the meat needs to be cold. So here we go, we're gonna grind away. Okay, and the final tip for meat grinders, this little piece of saran, when inserted into this grinder head, once you've finished all your meat, will then push out all the meat that is trapped inside of your grinder head. And here comes the meat that would have otherwise been lost in your grinder head. Meat grinding made simple. Super cold, keep your meat cold, finish it up with some saran wrap, and by all means, get rid of that hand grinder. It's killing your knuckles.
My side dish. The meat is browned. I've got some cooked brown rice, a little chicken broth, and now Buddy smokes a snake.
Scott, the other day, my son was at his deer lease. He was walking through the cactus. He sees a snake tail and turns over there and looks, and there's a big old snake looking at him with his head about 2 feet off the ground. So I had this High Mountain Western marinade. It says it's good for beef, wild game, fish, shrimp, chicken, pork, and vegetables. So I think this snake is gonna fall under wild game. Now when you marinate that thing, you make sure that the split side is up so that marinade can get in there. One thing that I did add to it, spiced rum. And we don't normally kill bull snakes, but whenever they're 2 feet off the ground looking at your face, well, that's a different situation. I'm gonna put it in the smoke vault here. This is after the smoke was put on it. Then I took it and put it in a pressure cooker. That's that meat right along the backbone. Got a few ribs in it, but you can easily pick the meat off of this thing. Pull that meat off of there, make a cocktail sauce. You can eat it straight up, put it on a cracker.
Coming up next, I'm going to show you what this duck looks like on the inside, and maybe a little egg on top of my duck and rice dish, right here on The Sporting Chef. And now the big finish here on The Sporting Chef Show. Of course, I don't do much without my High Mountain Trail dust, which is going to go right on top of these perfectly cooked eggs. When you break into this, the egg's going to go everywhere, and it's going to be delicious. And the duck, that is, let's see, the moment of truth, See the color there? That's what color I want your ducks to be. If you're cooking them too long because you don't like blood, well, get rid of the blood first. You can always find us at sportingchef.com, where there's a whole bunch of recipes. We strongly invite you to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. We're in all those places, and it's how we can connect with you. Special thanks today to Susie, Stacy, Anthony, Kyle, John, and Buddy, and of course our sponsors, in particular Camp Chef. Check out campchef.com. Weston Work Sharp, High Mountain Seasoning, big fan of High Mountain Seasoning. Orion Coolers, Game Saver. And where would I be without my Michael David wine? Yeah, right. Where is my Michael David wine? We'll see you next time right here on The Sporting Chef.